My fellow Americans. Uh, want to ask that you take a couple minutes with me right now um, just to talk about a few things that are very important and some things that are being thrown around and not really being accurately described for what they are. Things that will affect potentially you, things that will affect people around you, things that will probably affect some people you know. And we've had some tragedies in this nation. Some people have lost their lives. Some people have been horrendously injured, and a lot of families are broken and scarred. None of these things should ever happen, and I won't deliberately get into the debate of what's the best way to fix them, because in a nation this size with different areas, I don't believe there is a single cure. I wish there was, but I don't believe there is. One of the things being brought up along with a ban, which I won't agree with, but is a phrase of universal background checks. It's something that we have in my home state of Connecticut. It's something that a lot of people are interested in. And I am very much interested in, but I have my reservations. The idea seems great. Universal background checks. Anyone buying a gun should be a law-abiding citizen. A system was put into place several years ago. It is sadly outdated. Had it been working, had the government agencies we rely on and we pay for been working, some of these tragedies might have been prevented. But they want to make this a nationwide thing. It sounds good, universal background checks, but let's talk about some of the things that it affects that not everyone instantly thinks about. Here's two tragic stories that I personally will share with you. I'm going to leave the names of the individuals out. If they want to chime in on this afterward, they can. The first is a coworker of mine going back a few years ago. He ended up being in the middle of a very messy divorce. He had one older daughter. She was 15 or 16 years old at the time. The mom was dealing with some substance problems. He drained the bank accounts. The father wanted a divorce. The daughter wanted to get away as well. She was becoming violent, both to him and to the daughter. He's a working class guy, like a lot of us are, live paycheck to paycheck. They were going to be losing their house. He had to get what he could afford as an apartment. Now, he, going through a divorce, was not eligible to maintain possession of his firearms. Actually, she attacked him. His soon-to-be ex-wife attacked him. The neighbors called the cops. And in the state of Connecticut, if there's any sort of domestic dispute, generally both parties are instantly arrested and wait for the courts to fan it out. She hit him several times, and neighbors called the cops. They were worried. Cops came. Both of them were arrested. Now, they took his firearms. Maybe you think this is good, maybe not. But they took his firearms. He has to move to a new location. Now, his daughter, stuck in the middle of this, wants to live with him. She feels safer with him. She was physically abused by the mother. However, the mother has a nice apartment she's sharing with someone in a very nice neighborhood. The father gets what he can afford, which isn't in a very nice neighborhood, and it's a small place. Now, he doesn't want his daughter to stay with him because he's worried about the location and he's worried about his work hours. This, in universal background checks, denies him the right to be able to defend himself and his family. Not sure if I agree with that. But this is something that would happen, and it would affect a lot of people. Think about how many people you have met throughout your life, going through a divorce. Some are simple, some are very complicated. All of them raise red flags. And under universal background checks, you're you're screwed until things are decided, which in some cases, if you'd have some people, can take years. That's a very long time. The next story is even more tragic. Woman separated from her spouse, again, gets the apartment that she can afford. She's attacked and raped. She's physically assaulted and she is raped. After being raped, she's encouraged to seek out counseling. Okay, this seems to make sense. However, now that she's under counseling and being treated for depression, and I don't know a single person who's ever been sexually assaulted that didn't want counseling and wasn't depressed. It's a life-changing event. Most people never ever get over it. She applies for a pistol permit so that she could obtain some means of defending herself, and she is denied because she's being treated for depression. She seeks out legal counsel. What can she do? And in the meantime, she is physically assaulted 2 more times and raped again. She was denied the right and the opportunity to defend herself. These are people who the Second Amendment, which is supposed to be there for a lot of reasons, but one, so that people can defend themselves and their family, the people they love, the people they care about, and themselves. These are people, just 2 basic examples, where universal background checks will deny them that right, and they will further suffer. So please, before you just think that feel-good legislation, universal background checks, this is going to fix things, please ask your representatives, ask your senators, what exactly does that mean? Who decides what laws are going to go in and how these are going to be interpreted? Not to mention, is there going to be a group of people on the way by for, like, this woman who was being treated for depression after being raped, was denied the right to defend herself and assaulted and raped again? Who takes care of these things? And in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years, please just take a minute, ask your representatives what some of these things really, really mean. Thank you.